Welcome to Apartment Baker. Come on in, let's get baking. So here's my kitchen. As you can see, I live in a studio apartment. You don't need a huge commercial kitchen to be a great baker. All you need is a little motivation and a clean working space. This 4-foot by 2-foot table that I got at IKEA is plenty for me. Find what works best for you. Today's recipe is Garten's apple cake Tatin. It's a simple take on the classic French apple tart Tatin. This recipe is delicious because of the fresh Granny Smith apples paired with the light sour cream cake. I'm excited for our first recipe together. Mom always said, set up your ingredients so you don't get halfway through the recipe and realize you need to run to the store for one thing. Who wants to do that? As you can see, our ingredients are all here, so we're going to be working with 6 tablespoons or 3/4 stick unsalted butter at room temperature plus extra for greasing the dish. I like to work with unsalted butter so you know how much salt you're putting into a recipe. You can add as much or as little as you want. We also have 1 1/4 Granny Smith apples peeled and sliced into 12 pieces, 1 3/4 cups granulated sugar divided, 2 extra large eggs at room temperature, a 1/3 cup of sour cream, 1/2 teaspoon grated lemon zest, 1/2 teaspoon pure vanilla extract, 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon kosher salt. Finally, a little confectioner's sugar. Let's get started. So first we're going to make the caramel. I put a cup of granulated sugar with a 1/3 cup of water in a pan over high heat. I'm not going to stir the caramel, but you can swirl the pan. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the caramel to get up to about 350 degrees with a candy thermometer, I'm going to slice my apples. I just got done peeling them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice right outside of the core to avoid that hassle. What we want is real pretty slices of apple to fan around the pie pan. I want to get about 13 slices all together. So once they've been halved, I'll do it once more in the middle, and then equal slices about 1 centimeter thick for each. So as you can see, I've arranged my apple slices in a greased 9-inch pie pan. I put the larger pieces on the perimeter on the outside and put 3 smaller pieces in the middle to fill the pan. Okay, so I got my caramel up to 350. I'm just going to pour it over my apples. Okay, next we're going to cream together the 3/4 cup of sugar and the 6 tablespoons of butter. That's room temperature on a low speed with the paddle attachment. Next, we're going to crack in the eggs one at a time. Make sure the egg is blended all the way through or mixed all the way through until you add the second one. Okay, that looks great. Okay, now we're going to add the sour cream, the zest, and the vanilla. So it was a 1/3 cup of sour cream, which is about exactly this container here. A 1/2 teaspoon of freshly grated lemon zest. And a 1/2 teaspoon, as my girl Ina would say, of good vanilla. I actually use Mexican vanilla. Tastes really good, has really rich vanilla flavor. And and then just mix it through. Okay, now we're going to add our dry ingredients. I have them all measured out already in my Pyrex measuring cup. I have the flour, the salt, and the baking powder. And I'm going to hold my sifter right over the bowl and sift it right into the mixing bowl. For this part, you want to make sure it's mixed just until combined. You don't want a dense cake. So now I'm going to take my cake batter and pour it over the apple slices in my pie pan. The batter looks great. Okay. So now I'm just going to smooth the batter evenly over all the apples. Get a nice even layer. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to stick the pie into the oven that's been preheated to 350 for about 30 to 40 minutes or until the cake tester comes out clean. Okay, so I pulled the pie out of the oven and it looks great. It has a perfect golden color on top and the toothpick came out clear. So I'm going to let it cool for about 15 minutes before I invert it onto a plate. Okay, so the pie is cooled. Luckily we greased the pan before we baked the pie, so it shouldn't be easy to take out. However, just to give ourselves a head start, we'll loosen up the edges with a butter knife and make our way all the way around the edges, but being careful not to actually cut or ruin the shape of the pie. Okay, so here's the tricky part. I have a plate placed on top of the pie pan, and I'm going to flip it over so we can invert the pie onto the plate. And here's to hoping that it stays intact. Luckily it stayed intact and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So there you have it, folks. Apple cake Tatin. An easier version of apple tart Tatin. Thanks to Garten for the recipe, and I'm off to work to share it with my coworkers so I don't eat it all myself. See you next time.